All right, let's dive into habit 6, Synergize. Now, according to Stephen Covey, this isn't just another habit on the list. He actually calls it the highest activity in all of life. It's the true test, the moment where all the other habits finally come together to create something totally new. But, to really understand why synergy is such a game changer, let's start with a question. When we have a disagreement, what's our go-to solution? It's usually compromise, right? We agree to just meet in the middle. But is that really the best we can do? I mean, is that the peak of what we're capable of when we work together? Because when you start to look a little closer at compromise, you really start to see its flaws. By its very nature, it's a situation where both sides have to give something up. Yeah, we give and take, but a lot of the time, what we're left with feels like less than what we started with. It's this subtle feeling of loss, even when we call it a solution. Think about it with this simple math. Compromise means 1 plus 1 equals 1.5. See? Both people walk away having lost a piece of their original idea. The final deal isn't some bold new creation. It's usually just a watered-down, less exciting version of the two ideas you started with. It might get the job done, sure, but it's almost never truly creative. Okay, so if compromise is 1 plus 1 equals 1.5, what's the alternative? Well, this is where we get to the heart of habit 6. This is where we introduce this incredibly powerful idea called synergy. It's a completely different way of thinking. So what is it? At its core, synergy just means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It suggests that the relationship between the people, that connection, is a powerful part of the equation itself. It's the magic that happens in the space between us that creates something so much bigger and better than what any single one of us could have come up with on our own. And this is where the math gets really cool. In synergy, 1 plus 1 equals 3, or 8, or 16, or even 100. All of a sudden, we're not just adding our ideas together, we're multiplying them. We're creating possibilities that literally did not exist before we started talking. So where does this fit into the whole 7 habits framework? Well, Synergize is habit 6, and it's the grand finale of what Covey calls the public victory. It builds right on top of habit 4, think win-win, and habit 5, seek first to understand. You simply can't get to real synergy without that foundation of personal character and a deep desire for a solution that benefits everybody. Okay, so synergy sounds amazing, right? But how in the world do we actually make it happen? What's the secret sauce? The answer is one of those things that's incredibly simple to say, but really, really hard to do in real life. The key is this: you have to value differences. This is so important. Synergy is not about getting everyone to agree or to think the same way. It's actually the opposite. It's about taking those different perspectives and using them to our advantage. Now, this is tough because our egos, they want to be right. They want to be validated, not challenged. But synergy asks us to see our mental, emotional, and psychological differences not as things that divide us, but as the raw ingredients for creating something amazing. I absolutely love this quote because it just cuts right through a huge misunderstanding. We often think that for a team to be united, everyone needs to be on the same page, to be alike. But that's not unity. That's just uniformity. Real unity, real creative power, comes from combining different, complementary strengths. Think of it like a musical chord. It's the harmony of different notes that makes it beautiful, not just one note played over and over again. Okay. So much for the theory. Let's look at what this actually looks like out in the real world. How does synergy go from being a cool idea to something you can actually do? Covey tells this fantastic story about a company that totally transformed its leadership meetings. The old way was, exactly what you'd expect, a boring, predictable battle of egos. Everyone came in with their prepared notes, ready to defend their position to the death. But then they shifted their approach. They came prepared not to defend, but to genuinely listen and to create something new. And the energy in the room just completely flipped. Excitement replaced boredom, and they ended up creating a shared vision that no single person had even thought of before walking in. Here's another way to picture it. There's this model from Kurt Lewin called a force field analysis. It basically says that any situation has driving forces pushing for change and restraining forces, like fear or negativity, holding things back. Now, the normal way to solve a problem is to just push harder on the driving forces. But the synergistic way is to get everyone involved and openly talk about those restraining forces. You turn that negative, resistant energy into a positive driving force that everyone can get behind. So whether we're talking about making meetings better or rebalancing these forces on a project,
The goal underneath it all is the same. It's about getting past this black and white, two-option mindset and starting the search for what Covey calls the third alternative. This slide shows the huge mental shift we're talking about. Most of the time, we frame conflicts as either or. It's either your way or it's my way. Best case scenario there? Compromise. But the synergistic mindset just refuses to accept that those are the only two options. It's always actively looking for our way, a brand new path that's genuinely better for everybody. So what's the roadmap? How do we actually find it? Well, it's those public victory habits working together perfectly. First, you have to start with a genuine belief from Habit 4 that a win/win solution is even possible. Then, you have to use Habit 5 to set your ego aside and truly, deeply understand where the other person is coming from. And only then, from that place of mutual trust and understanding, can you start the creative process of building that third alternative together. And this is the most powerful part. When you really, truly achieve synergy, it's not just a deal, it's a transformation. Everyone involved feels it. They know, deep down, that the solution you created together is way better than what anyone brought to the table on their own. It's an outcome that doesn't just solve a problem, it actually builds and strengthens the relationship for the future. So let's end with a little challenge for you. The next time you find yourself in a disagreement, totally stuck between your way and what you're convinced is the wrong way, just hit the pause button for a second. Ask yourself this question: where might a third alternative be hiding in plain sight? Because if you truly value the differences and commit to this process, you might just discover a brilliant solution you never even knew was possible.